Hey guys, welcome back to the Big Intentions podcast. I'm your host, Iralyn. It's a lovely day to be podcasting today. I'm really enjoying this journey so far, and the podcast is really becoming a place for me to deep dive on topics and learn more and research and get answers for myself, as well as sharing things with you all. So it's really allowed me to take inventory of what's going on in my life and allow me to share it with you guys. So, today's podcast episode is going to be a fun one. We'll be deep diving on choice and beliefs and how our beliefs shape our choices and all the ins and outs on this topic. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment and like this video and subscribe to my channel. And then if you're listening, you can leave a 5-star rating. And yeah, I'm so excited for today's episode. So, without further ado, let's just dive into the segments. So, living out loud. So since we last chatted, I've been venturing into the Taylor Swift world. I know I mentioned Jake Gyllenhaal in my first episode and how I love him as an actor. So I really hope that there's not going to be a conflict of interest here when it comes to me becoming a Swiftie. But I got some advice from a fellow Swiftie. In order to get into her music, she suggested that I listen to the albums in the order that they were released. So I've been trying to do that. So basically I need like a Swifties beginner course or something, because so many Swifties are like just so hardcore. Like I need to ease into it, and I don't want to be overwhelmed with all of the history and drama. Like I've watched her documentary, so like I know her story, and I know a lot of her songs because obviously they're so popular. But anyways, that's my whole little deep dive on Swifties, and I just don't know enough about them. Or not about Swifties, but like I just don't know enough about her. I don't know. There's just so much to it. So I feel like I need a beginner's course basically. But anyways, this past weekend was super fun, and I've been working on, like, I guess we could call it a project, but I've just been working on something. So hopefully I can share that when the time is right. But anyways, besides that, I won tickets to Old Dominion, so I saw them, which was really unexpected and fun. Me and Spencer went, and it was a super fun time. And that was actually my second time seeing them in concert. The first time, it was a free concert in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and I was like, I think it was before my senior year in high school. So that was so long. I think one of their popular songs then was Snapback. I don't know. They played it the other night, and it really was like a full circle moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I feel like they played this in that free concert I went to. But anyways, it was like a good summer energy, like intro to summer. Like, I was wearing my denim shorts and boots to the concert, and I actually tried a new hairstyle, which was fun. I did like 2 little braids with like my curtain bangs, not curtain bangs, but like the little face framing pieces I have here. I did 2 little braids, and it was so cute. So I've been trying to like do different hairstyles besides like what I just always do and switch it up. And if you're watching this and you see me like looking out my window, I have my shades up, and I just get really anxious that people are looking in here and like low-key think I have a stalker sometimes. Anyways, that's not a joke, but actually, whatever. And there's like a lawn person, maintenance person outside, so I really hope that's not affecting the sound quality. Like, I'm trying to do something here, Anyways, so words to live by is our next segment. So let's just jump on into that. And this week's quote is, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." And this is by Dr. William James. So I think this is truly amazing when you think about it, is how much change we can, you know, make in our lives simply by what we believe we are capable of and our attitudes and mindsets, that we can choose. We can choose how we view things and how we, have a certain perspective on things, and that can ultimately impact and affect the rest of our decisions and actions. And that's really kind of the whole idea behind this week's episode. So I thought that quote was fitting, and it's just a good reminder of how powerful a tool that your mind is and how careful you have to be when you're using it. There's really a lot of power that you're not even tapping into when it comes to your mind. And this can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing, whatever, however you decide to use it. But, even the way that you talk to yourself and what you tell yourself you're capable of, or the dreams that you dream, as in like what you see for yourself, like your life, like your highest version of yourself, that kind of dream, not really like sleep dreams, but really how you realize the amount of greatness that you're capable of. And I think that's really encouraging to know that your mind is so powerful. And hopefully this helps you not to fall into the trap of limiting beliefs, we're going to talk about this later in the episode, and I get all into beliefs and choices and things like that. But I think the quote really just helps give a good overview and summarizes what this week's episode is about. So we'll go into the last segment before we get into the main topic, which is intentional living. So checking in with last week's intention, I said I wanted to go thrifting, and I actually did go thrifting. I only found one thing, but I also went to Old Navy and shopped the clearance rack, which to me is honestly more cost effective than thrifting, because I got like 2 pairs of jeans, like 2 pairs of jeans and a pair of shorts for $12. And you cannot even get that at Goodwill, which there needs to be a whole reorganization. Like, I do not understand thrifting in that regard, because people give all this stuff away for free and donate it, and then they upcharge so much on this, and I just don't understand. I don't understand how that's cost effective. Okay, maintenance man, please go by, because like you're loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Hopefully not. There goes the leaf blower. Okay, I really hope you guys can't hear the maintenance person in the background outside. But anyways, basically checking in on last week's intention. I did good. I went thrifting. I was trying to find a piece for an upcoming music festival that I'm going to, and I found one shirt, but it's TBD. I need to wash it and try it on and see how I like it. But anyways, going into my intention for this week, or this coming week, it's to focus on drinking water. So I feel like I kind of fell off the drinking water train. Like, I'm not that hydrated, and I just need to be for this Texas heat. So basically, I just need to get back on my emotional support water bottle game, and that's just a really simple intention that I'm setting. But I feel like if I talk about it on here, like, it'll hold me more accountable, because I'm gonna have to check in next week and be like, guys, I drink water, like, go me. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't even drink water this week, whatever. Anyways, that's why today I have a Topo Chico with me, because it's like a more fun way of drinking water. It's like just sparkling water. Can you guys hear that? Anyways, yeah, so let's just move on into the main topic for today's episode. And I did a lot of research on this topic, and honestly, it was so fun researching this kind of stuff. I really like understanding like how our brains work and what we can do to change things, and just different tool sets that are available to us. And I'm sure like if you go to therapy, they're going to teach you a lot of this stuff. Everything I read was like, yeah, this is a way to do it, blah, 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 and see a therapist, but things like that. And like, that's great, but not everybody has access to that. Or maybe you want to do some things on your own before you go see a therapist. Like, obviously, I am not a doctor. I don't know. I'm not any kind of like mental health, whatever. I'm not an expert on this. I simply Google things, and I'm using it in my life and applying it to my life, and encouraging you all to do the same. But obviously, if you need help, like, go seek help from a professional. So let's just get into this topic, which is choices and beliefs. I was going to say choices versus beliefs, but I don't really want to pit them against each other. So we're just going to be talking about both today. But this was kind of prompted from a podcast I was listening to, the Battle Ready podcast with Erwin McManus. And they just were talking about self-mastery, but in part of it, they mentioned choice versus belief. And that just kind of got my head spinning and going down this rabbit hole of choice and belief, and I just wanted to do a deeper dive on this topic and how we can use this knowledge to become our higher selves. And I want to provide you guys with different tools, resources, and the knowledge that I've learned in my research to utilize, so you can utilize it in ways that will help you to become your higher self. So let's start out by defining choice and belief. So a choice is the act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. Like, it sounds simple, but I think you have to simplify things even further than, like, you think you know what something is, but like, let's just dummy it all down and get to the root of everything and then go from there, you know? So choice, obviously making a decision when you have one or more or two or more possibilities. And belief is the acceptance that a statement is true or something exists. So trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. So these are, two different concepts, but they're greatly related, and often our beliefs influence our choices. So we often think of a belief as kind of big picture or just in a general sense, like, oh, I believe in this or that, or this is my belief on XYZ, but really our beliefs impact our day-to-day choices and the decisions that we make. So it's critical to understand and know why and what we hold as beliefs to understand the way that we live our lives and how to change our beliefs if necessary to change the choices that we make that impact our lives. So another quote that relays the impact of our beliefs is this quote I found. It says, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Which is a lot, and you can see this chain reaction of beliefs that ultimately is impacting your destiny. All these little things, add up and compound into this big thing. And the things that you believe ultimately dictate how you live your life, your lifestyle, who you are, what you value, and ultimately your destiny, who you become. And hopefully that's a good, impactful, positive thing. You become what you want to be, but it all starts with our beliefs. So I think that quote just really kind of helps wrap it all together and really depict the chain reaction that's happening there. So the question becomes, can we change our beliefs? How do we identify our beliefs? What do beliefs say about me? How can I track or identify my current beliefs? And how do my beliefs impact my choices? There's just so many things that go into this, and we're gonna kind of touch on some of these questions that I've just posed to you all. But let's just go ahead and dive in on the role that beliefs play in our lives. So it's clearly impactful, and it would be beneficial to us to identify our core beliefs, because our core beliefs are deeply held ideas that inform how we see ourselves and the world, and that's huge. A deep belief or a core belief is fundamental to our interactions with the world and our sense of self. And our core beliefs, I keep thinking of like the movie Inside Out, like those little core memories and things. But think of it as like core beliefs, like things that you believe to be true, that they dictate how you see the world, how you see yourself. And this is developed in us during early childhood, and it's continually developed over time. But these are things that can change, and we'll get into changing beliefs later, but these are developed in a response to a person's experiences. And I think it's helpful for us to identify our core beliefs to be more intentional with our lives. And if you understand your core beliefs, you're going to be able to find that root cause of, what's really happening. If you want to make changes, you don't like the choices you're making each day, really going back to your belief, finding that limiting belief and changing it. Or, maybe you just are unsure and you want to establish a belief so that you can make choices and it's grounded in something that you hold as true and it's true to you. So I think a good place to start in all of this is identifying our core beliefs. So One way to do this is notice your thoughts. Pay attention to the automatic thoughts. Note any consistent themes or patterns. So for me, when I'm faced with a challenge, I always think there's a solution. Like there's always an alternative to a problem that I'm posed with. And I always think there's a way through something or around something. And that's just automatic for me. I'm a problem solver at nature. I'm an engineer. And I just think it comes as second nature for me to believe that there's always another way. There's always an alternative. And so, that's that automatic thought for me. And I think that is one of my core beliefs. And that's why when I'm faced with certain challenges, I'm always like, well, if I can't do it this way, there's another way to do this thing. But I think it's helpful for us to notice our automatic thoughts in order to identify our beliefs, because those automatic thoughts are indicators of our core beliefs. So, another example of an automatic thought that I have that's not really as positive as like, oh yeah, there's a solution to everything. But I'm just being real here. I'm just sharing with you all. So if somebody tells me no, or there's some sort of rejection in a response that I'm getting from somebody, I automatically go, what did I do wrong? Like, why would I get no as an answer? And, it's not very logical to think that way, but that's just something like rejection I really don't deal with very well. And I always try to find a way to put it back and turn it back on myself, even if it would have nothing to do with me. I'm really hard on myself, and I blame myself for things, like, oh, somebody said no to this idea. Like, why was it bad? Like, what could I have done better to make this a better idea? And like, sometimes, yes, you're responsible for that thing, but sometimes the answer is just no, and you just have to be okay with that. And you don't have to blame yourself for it. And I think I'm just really hard on myself in that regard. But rejection is a whole other topic for another podcast episode. But I'm just trying to give you guys some examples in real life, like practical, like, yes, I'm not perfect. I'm not coming on here to say, this is everything you need to do to be perfect, and I'm perfect. Like, that's not me. I'm not perfect. Obviously, even though I like to think I am, I'm not. And so I just wanted to be real and like give actual examples of things that happen in my life so that you all can relate and find those things that, are true for you. So automatic thoughts, or, making note of these, just writing them down whenever you have them or you're faced with a certain situation, writing down these automatic thoughts is going to help you to identify those core beliefs. So let's go back to another way to identify our core beliefs. So asking questions is another great way to identify your core beliefs, and really diving into your beliefs. Like, once you've identified one, to really dig deeper to understand why that's one of your core beliefs and how that actually impacts you. So you can ask yourself, like, what does this mean about me? Why does this matter to me? Asking these questions to help you realize the root cause of the belief and how it actually impacts your thought process when it comes to this belief coming up. And really, this is helpful to help you change your beliefs and to alter the choices that ultimately impact you. And I think just doing a deep dive and asking these questions really allows you to address these core beliefs accordingly. So I think it's important to identify our core beliefs because they can impact every aspect of our lives, and some of these may be limiting core beliefs, which can encourage negative view of self and others. And by identifying them, we can help share our experiences in a way that fulfills our potential. So I found some core belief worksheets also that I think might be helpful when you're working through identifying and really diving deeper into your beliefs. And I've linked those in the show notes below. So those are some resources that you guys can check out if you're going through this exercise. But it's so clear that beliefs play a crucial role in the choices that we make. And if we believe that, for example, honesty is important and it's one of our core beliefs, we'll be more inclined to tell the truth, even if it's difficult. So I find this showing up in my life. Like, if I'm struggling with something and somebody would ask me like how I am, like, Honesty is so important to me, and I just find it hard to not be open and honest with people and tell them like how I'm really feeling if somebody asks me that. Back to episode one of my core values is genuineness, and it's something that I feel like is played out in my day to day and impacts my choices and beliefs. And me living authentically and honestly is really a part of that core value, the genuineness, and being honest with myself and others is something that's important to me. So I would say that's one of my core beliefs, and that impacts how I make decisions throughout my day to day. So that's kind of an example of how crucial a belief can be and how impactful it is just to our everyday lives. Some beliefs are high level and they just impact the general course of our life, but really a lot of our beliefs are impactful to our day-to-day choices and our day-to-day lives. So for example, living a healthy lifestyle is one of my core beliefs. I believe in nourishing your body and taking care of it. Therefore, this impacts my day-to-day decisions and day-to-day choices. The amount of sleep I get, the food I eat, the way I move my body, all of these things, all these choices all connect back to that core belief of, something that I believe is true and something I believe should be present in my life, and which ultimately impacts my entire lifestyle and the majority of the decisions that I make each day. So you can see how our beliefs are so closely tied with the choices that we make, and they're crucial on the impact that they have on our lives. Like living a healthy lifestyle is a belief that I hold that positively impacts my choices and my day-to-day life. But on the flip side, some of the limiting beliefs that we can have or that we hold can really hold us back tremendously from becoming the highest version of ourselves. So this poses the question, can we change our beliefs? And once you've identified your core beliefs, you can start to challenge them and ask yourself, are they really true? Are there alternatives to the situations that the beliefs present themselves in? Is there evidence to support or contradict your beliefs? These are kind of those deeper dive questions you can get into once you've identified your core beliefs. But our core beliefs can be changed, but it may take significant work to achieve the desired results. But ultimately, yes, you can change your beliefs. And this is where, maybe if it's something very deep rooted that connects to something that happened in your childhood or whatever, that's something that maybe you have to work through in therapy. And there's all kinds of different therapy options. I mean, people do all kinds of different types of therapy to ultimately change their core beliefs about themselves. So, this is kind of just high level, some practical tools that you can use in your life. But basically, so we're looking at changing a negative core belief or a limiting belief. I kind of use those interchangeably. But basically, it starts with creating a positive alternative to the negative core belief. So, for example, changing a negative core belief that would say, I am inadequate, change that to the positive alternative, which is now, I am a person of value. And the positive alternative core belief, it's positive, but it's also realistic. It's not going from saying, I do everything wrong to I make perfect decisions, I'm perfect. That's not realistic. So we're going off of positive but realistic. So these are basically affirmations. I am, you're affirming who you are, you're affirming this core belief, and writing down these positive alternatives or core beliefs and repeating it to yourself, saying them out loud. It's really one way that you can rewire your brain to start to believe the positive alternative rather than that limiting belief. So once you've identified a positive alternative core belief to contrast with the well-established negative or limiting core belief, the next step is to simultaneously weaken the negative core belief while strengthening the positive alternative core belief. And I know that sounds like a lot, but basically it makes sense. We'll simplify it. The positive alternative that we want to start believing, we're going to find evidence to support that, and we're going to weaken the negative limiting belief that we're going to find things that contradicts that negative belief, that obviously the positive one is the way that is true and right and should be the belief that we hold true in our lives. So one way to do this, an effective way to do this, is using a core belief record. So this entails noticing and recording any evidence or experiences which would support the new positive core belief. And this can be evidence that, just arises in the day-to-day, or it could predate this realization that this is a limiting negative belief. So it could just be evidence from your past that you document. And documenting this evidence is crucial to proving to yourself and strengthening that positive alternative and ultimately weakening that negative limiting belief. So how to act upon our beliefs is through the choices that we make in our day-to-day lives. And beliefs are the foundation for the choices that we make. So I really wanted to spend, a lot of time doing that deep dive on beliefs in this podcast episode, because I think that's the foundation for ultimately impacting and changing the choices that we make each day. So kind of to recap, obviously, you have beliefs and they impact your choices. And the beliefs, you have core beliefs, you can identify those just going out throughout your day through journaling, whatever that might look like for you, recording yourself, whatever, talking to yourself, talking to somebody else, asking those deeper questions, ultimately identifying those core beliefs and then finding the ones that are negative. And you can link all of your beliefs to the choices that you make throughout your day. So I think that's a good place to start when it comes to, becoming the higher version of yourself. You really have to look down and go to that granular level of what are the choices that I make each day. And even further down than that, what do I believe is true about myself? How do I view the world? That's going to impact the choices that you make. So that's where we're starting out. Okay, so moving into choice. So this quote I really like about choice, and it goes, choice is the most powerful tool we have. Everything boils down to choice. We exist in a field of infinite possibilities. Every choice we make opens an infinite number of doors and closes an infinite number of doors. At any point, we can change the direction of our lives by a simple choice. It is all in our hands, our hearts, and our minds. Choices, choices, choices. There's so many choices, and try not to get overwhelmed with the power of choice, but rather feel empowered by it. The ability to change your life with one single choice, that's amazing. That's like such an amazing tool to have in your repertoire, in your tool belt, whatever you may say. And I think it's really encouraging to know that we are in control of the choices we make. I mean, ultimately you have the final say of whether you make a choice or not. And of course, there's stipulations and structures in our lives that can hold us back. But ultimately, you are in control and you have the ability to make those choices. So that's empowering to me, at least. If I want to become the higher version of myself, it boils down to the choices that I make to become that person. And, some choices come natural and others are more high stakes. Some choices may seem insignificant, but really they all do add up and ultimately impact who we are. And I think that the choice or the lack thereof of taking action, it really can result in a huge impact in our lives. And a high level outlook of life kind of boils down to the following quote. And it says, you are being presented with a choice, evolve or remain. If you choose to remain unchanged, you will be presented with the same challenges, the same routine, the same storms, the same situations until you learn from them, until you love yourself enough to say no more, until you choose to change. If you choose to evolve, you will connect with the strength within you. You will explore what lies outside the comfort zone. You will awaken to love. You will become. You will be. You have everything you need. Choose to evolve. Choose to love. Really, that's such a great quote. I really love it, but it's really simple. Evolve or remain. And I obviously recommend always go with the choice that scares you the most, because that's the one that's going to help you grow the most. And being intentional with the choices you make is going to significantly impact you. And you'll feel so much better if you actively made a choice with, an educated decision, you're making an educated decision, educated choice. You're researching, you're understanding your core beliefs and understanding why you're making choices, because they're ultimately leading you to becoming your highest self. And really, I truly want to convey to you all the importance of your beliefs and the impact of the choices that you make, and how that leads you either down the path towards your higher self or further away from your higher self. And with that, I just want to encourage you to keep looking for ways to grow and to be intentional with your life and becoming the person that you want to be, becoming your highest self. And I hope this episode was helpful. And yeah, and that's basically all I have on today's podcast episode on choice and belief. But I hope it was helpful, and I would love if you guys can leave a 5-star rating and comment on the YouTube if you enjoyed today's episode. And yeah, I look forward to more episodes in the future, and this one gave me a lot of new ideas for further episodes to come. So if you guys like this, you guys can be expecting more kind of topics like this. I really liked this format of just picking kind of like a broad subject and basically narrowing it down for you all. So thanks for listening to today's episode, and you can find me on Instagram at Iralyn12 or on YouTube at Iralyn Hunt. Yeah, thanks for listening. Love you guys. Bye.